course we can.
Yeah. So you brought on to my attention a Ranty Flat Earth video where some dude tried to explain that low temperatures create a vacuum and that vacuum sucks. Was that the point?
Yes, something like that. It's like, have to think about it. So his argument is that the pressure gradient doesn't exist, but that everything can be explained by a temperature gradient.
Okay.
So he goes on about saying that the higher we go up, the lower the temperature is.
Yes.
But then he runs into problems.
Yeah, because
the lower the temperature, the lower the gas volume is going to be.
That is what he says. Yeah. And we know that it is the other way around. The lower the temperature, the more condensed the air can be.
Yeah.
That's why we use intercoolers on turbos in engines.
Yeah, but then how we get to, what is it? If you've got a chips bag.
Yeah.
Why that becomes, what is it, more voluminous?
Yeah.
When you go up, then he runs into problems. It's probably not in this little video. That's what it was in the discussion afterwards. Or that was with the discussion with Greg.
Okay.
Craig, sorry, not Greg.
Yeah, Craig. Yeah. There is some strange contradiction actually, because flat-earthers like to say ISS should burn up because at that altitude the air temperature is 4,000 degrees Celsius, which it is, and only the air is very thin. It's already near vacuum. So his story, colder vacuum temperature gradient, goes completely wrong there. Because first
he argues.
Yeah.
He does not agree that there is a vacuum. He will go to this ridiculous story saying, were you there? And have you been able to prove it?
Yeah, but we do have vacuum rooms, vacuum chambers.
Yes.
So you can go in there and then get killed if they pull out the air on you. So no,
boilers innards. Huh?
Yeah. So his stupid story is, okay, you go up and the temperature goes down, and that is why things expand. That's nice, but if we then go higher, suddenly the temperature rises again, and it rises to 3,000–4,000 degrees. And now his story suddenly falls apart. And actually, we can explain it very well. If you really look at the videos, then what we see is that by putting a glass over a candle, we first have very hot air underneath that glass. And we're putting it over the candle. Even if you do it pretty fast, the hot air above the flame will immediately push the colder air out of the glass, and then you seal it off. And what then happens is that there is first hardly any rise of the fluid, and that's because it's still hot.
Well, if I remember correctly, there was still even some gases being expelled from the fluid.
So in some cases you can see that. That depends how fast indeed they put the glass on it. But now a few things happen. First, as long as the air is hot in there, it will have its pressure, and still the fluid could already come up a little bit. And people will say, well, that's not possible. And I have a reason for that. So still hot air, we're not yet at the point that the flame is going down and the thing is cooling down, and because of the cooling down the pressure gets lower and the outside pressure is pushing the fluid in. No, just before that you can have a little rise of water, and it's explainable because a candle is made mostly or usually out of paraffin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you pronounce that in English. Paraffin, maybe paraffin. And those are chains of carbon hydrogen, CH3, And they can be very long, like 20 to 50 atom groups or molecules together to make long strings. And what happens when you burn this paraffin? The first thing is the carbon becomes carbon dioxide. And so that is oxygen that disappears, but stays a gas. So it's not really disappearing and maintaining together as a carbon dioxide now the pressure that was first created by the oxygen and all the other stuff in the air. But for every 3H, there will be 1.5 oxygen atom required. And that condenses, that is water. So if in air you have like 20% oxygen, then about, it's not entirely the same, but about 55% will become CO2 and 45% or a little bit less will become water. And that is actually pressure, gas pressure, disappearing even while it is still hot. Do you get it? So we could have already, if it stayed hot, we could already see a rise of maybe 10% of the volume. But then, of course, when the oxygen is gone, it's transferred completely into water and carbon dioxide. Then the whole thing starts cooling down.
Yeah.
And then we have
as soon as the fire goes out, the flame goes out, then
even if the flame starts to become smaller, it is already cooling down. And you can see that, and you can often also see. I've watched some of the videos more carefully a few times. You actually see the condense of the water form. So that is really actually you're filling it inside with water. That is even the trick. Basically, it's still condensing on the glass and not yet dripping down. But in an extreme case, that could happen. It would drip down and then fill the glass, even without the outside pressure helping. Now, what I don't understand with people is how they can think that vacuum pulls or sucks.
I have no idea either.
Because for me, vacuum, let's say you would have absolute vacuum, that is nothingness. Yeah. If I
can't do anything.
There is not. Yeah, indeed. There is not even an atom that can pull on another atom in the atmosphere or whatever. There is nothing to pull.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can do labor. There's nothing that can move something.
Apply a force.
Yeah. So that should be a trigger enough for people if they could imagine first that vacuum is nothing. Then how would nothing be able to do something? Right, so but that is actually all I have to say about this. Oh yeah, and he made another mistake. He at one point said, like when he was 10 meters underwater, 33 feet, that he then had, because he showed a table, and the table then showed
14.7, what was it again?
PSI,
PSI,
or 1 bar or 1 atmosphere.
Oh, and I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, you cannot be that stupid.
Yeah. But did you see what the table was that he used? The table was a table that showed hydrostatic pressure. And the trick about hydrostatic pressure is that is the pressure when you deduct first the atmospheric pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah? So
you basically calibrated your
gauge, the device you use to measure how deep you are, and that is it. And so he used the wrong table. He first measures or talks about atmospheric pressure, then he uses a table where at 10 meters depth you also apparently have 1 bar or 14 psi, but that is in fact 28 psi minus the 14 psi of the atmosphere above. And yes, a calibration, exactly what you say.
Well, there was the nice part about the balloon popping. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
So the ridiculous idea that the balloon becomes weak, and he never even understands that it's expanding the whole time from from what is it? From sea level going up, until the point that that the balloon cannot handle the stretch anymore. Huh?
Yes, and I think it's actually designed to pop as well, isn't it? Because
It
they
depends.
yeah.
It depends on the kind of balloon that they do.
Yeah, I understand. But when Baumgartner went up, they took a balloon that did not pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they were higher than most weather balloons, or at least at that altitude. But I think there is a reason, and I thought it was because they have all these measuring equipment below. They would like to retrieve it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they let
So
the balloon.
there will be another pressure gog in there, and they simply release it slowly.
Yeah, or it just explodes, and then it falls down. It has a GPS tracker inside, and then they send a truck to retrieve it, so they
Oh,
can
you mean the one? Yeah, yeah.
so they can retrieve the equipment time over and over, because otherwise it's a very expensive thing, and the whole world would be covered with weather balloon electronics that lie around everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. That was a point in what was it? Craig's video with
Yeah.
Spurskimo. He did a pre-show and an after-show with him.
Yeah.
And they completely ignored that there is what is it? Pressure variances, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, with the weather, you're gonna have small changes in pressure.
Already as well. Yeah, you need to calibrate your plane for that, for instance. Otherwise, you crash into the ground when you land.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the height of the airport, huh?
Yeah.
Needs to be known in there as well.
Yeah, actually, I have.
That was a bit of a shame that that Craig didn't pick up on that one.
Okay, yeah. Now, actually, my car has it as well. Actually, all modern cars have it, but mine can also display it like I have a compass screen if I want to, but I also have an altitude screen. I can log, if I go over the Alps, I can log my trip in altitude.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But maybe I'll post a picture of it after this. I'll put it into this video as well. Right, as promised, have a quick look at what the car has to give, for instance. So this is barometer and compass. Can go back, let's see. This would show how my wheels are positioned and how I angle when I'm on steep hills going off-road with this one, which it can. It's a luxurious car, but it's also very off-road capable. And back, and I should have some of the satellites which he is picking up to show where we are, as you can see. So fantastic. It's more than 10 years old and it has all this fantastic stuff, but this one is the one I wanted to show. I can actually, you know, see how high I am, and I can start. And I'm apparently below zero, below sea level, which is not strange in the country where I live. But in this case, I'm actually should be 40 meters above. But this is what Bart and I just talked about. You can see that the barometric pressure is 1019 hectopascal. So that's how it works. And I could now push begin, and then it will start tracking my route and the altitude I do. And it's nice if you go over a mountain pass. It's nice to record it and store it. So that's what I wanted to show. Thanks. Every car has it nowadays because they use it for calibrating or managing the engine management. If you have a turbo and you go up in the mountains, then every car will lose up to 40% of its power. Because you have thinner air, and they have these barometers inside, so they can
adjust for
adjust for that. And that's
yeah.
modern cars have, especially those with turbos, can take care of that, and then you have hardly any loss of power.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take an older car, you have. Yeah.
That's one I was just thinking about as well with Spurskimo. Tell him to get a what is it? A small motorcycle.
Yeah.
Take the exhaust off, and then run the thing on full speed.
Yeah.
If he doesn't believe, if he wants to prove that there is no air pressure, then that should be okay, right?
Yeah.
If not, he blows up the motor.
Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. On the what is it? On the cheaper bikes, the small bikes, they definitely need a proper exhaust to run the engine properly.
Oh yeah, for the counter pressure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So just have him take the what is it? Take the exhaust pipe off and then run it in full. God, he even had a little boy with his tongue glued to the.
Yeah, yeah, that was also. Oh, that one was great.
Yeah. If you make it warmer, it gets whatever it was. What he said, I don't know anymore.
And cold sucks. That was it. That cold sucks.
Oh yeah. The cold sucks. No,
Yeah.
the little boy is pulling his tongue and he's getting upset. Oh, what an idiot.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, but that's also something you should never try at home or ever. But a way of experimenting is when you take ice cubes from the freezer.
Yeah.
If you do it with your hands when they are a bit moist, they will immediately glue to your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if your hands are dry, it won't, and it's simply because the moisture on your hand will freeze and then have a solid connection of the ice cube to your fingers. And in the case of the guy on the lantern post, he freezes the salami directly to the lantern post. That's what's happening. It's just the physics of fluids becoming solid.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with something pulling. Absolutely not. But that was, yeah. So that was his argument somehow. It cools and then it pulls. Can we find an example where cold actually pushes?
Yes, ice.
Yeah, when ice, yeah.
Put water in a glass bottle and put it in the freezer.
Yeah, and it will burst.
It will burst the glass bottle. Yeah. What else is going on?
Yeah.
It really looks like flat Earth is dying, eh?
That was my impression as well. You have these guys with these complete silly attempts to still try to come up with some arguments against normal science, but that does not take away what we have seen with the circumvention of the Earth over the poles. They always said, why does nobody fly over the poles? And now they do. And then
everybody's quiet.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any. Yeah.
Yeah, or Antonio Subratis then tries to make a small or stupid story that while they were not visible, they quickly flew around half the globe. But what he forgets is that they first needed like 30 hours to get there, and then in 1 minute they were able to fly what took them in the first place over 33 or how many hours was it to get there?
Yeah.
That's, oh my God.
Then they popped out on the other side somehow again.
Yeah. And what I found also nice was on a Wolfie's channel. Apparently the pilots were not aware of any of this. When this operation started, of course, people in the live stream started to chat, and also people started to discuss the flat Earth.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had ever thought that this would happen. You know, they just do their Guinness Book of Records record attempt.
Yeah.
And suddenly people start to
confused about all the inside jokes on.
Right. And then indeed Wolfie had a nice fragment where the pilots apparently are made aware that is happening, and they're laughing their pants off, and they say, well, how could that be? Then we end up on one side, and then pop, in 1 second we are completely 40,000 kilometers on the other side.
Yeah.
They must have been
What the?
amazed. Yeah, you know, there are
Yeah.
so many people who don't even know that this whole flat Earth thing is going on, and when you tell them about it, they are like, "It can't be true." You know, that people are this stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same as Powell, as the guy who made these very nice recordings on Antarctica of 24-hour sun. Anthony
Yes.
Powell,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy just works there. He makes for 10 years. He makes very nice documentaries, etc., etc., and also a 24-hour sun on Antarctica. And then he posted, and suddenly all kinds of people start attacking him because the Earth should be flat and what he did is fraud and whatever.
Yeah. And he has no.
Imagine how the guy must feel.
He's going, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's amazing. But
Oh my
yeah,
god.
I would like to use this moment also to express thanks to all my subscribers because I've gone over the 1,000.
Yeah, you did a magic number.
Finally, I even got the congratulations from YouTube
Oh, nice.
in
Yeah.
an email. Yes, yeah.
Cool.
But it takes some time. I'm not. Apparently, I'm not that popular as Wolfie, etc. But they are sometimes more productive. Wolfie has a lot of money to spend, and I'm just a poor pensionado.
Yeah, and I mean, he's flying so much. He gets all these lovely videos.
Yeah, it's just great, and I really appreciate what he does.
Yeah, I really enjoy it as well.
Yeah. So it's, no, all the
And the
guys.
fun with it is with people like Wolfie and what is it, Greater Sapien.
Yeah.
You can send them a message and they'll try to reply in good faith and give
Yeah.
you information.
Yeah, most
It's
do
so much
actually.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We have Sean, Sly. Oh man, always run the risk that I don't mention all the good guys, of course, but that guy, Surf Purcell, Soundly,
Joost
Rationality
Weber,
Rules, Rachel, yeah.
Magical, yeah.
Uh, one more,
Oh, and have
Miles
you been following
Davis, yeah.
what is it? Oh God, what's his name again? BM Verbal? BM, what is
Yeah,
it? BM
yeah, yeah.
Verbal, yeah, with this experiment.
Yeah, but he still owes me a postcard.
Okay, well, shout out.
Yeah, because yeah, being verbal, I'm still waiting for the postcard. He
Yeah.
he had this a challenge, but he put it up while I was asleep, and you could win a piece of pop wire from the uh, Korean border. You know,
Okay.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
demilitarized zone. They give away, or they have these souvenirs of uh, real barbed wire from there. And I was just too late. I had a good answer. I was too late. And then he promised the next 3 persons that would come up with the correct answer that he would send a postcard with a stamp from that region as well.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still waiting for it. And being verbal, come on, guy. I believe he's
I
also
just
sub to my channel, so he will see it, I guess.
yeah. I think I looked on the side at Jeranism's what is it videos.
Yeah.
I don't see any in there about what is it, the record. The
Yeah,
circumvention.
he's still trying to figure out how he can counter that, I guess.
Okay. And what else going on?
Yeah, not much. I'm just wondering whether there's so much good stuff at the moment, whether I need to come up with other counter flat Earth videos, or whether I go a little bit in, let's say, in the atheist direction. Sounds pretty nice to me, actually, to fight the Joukes of this world with other arguments. Oh, there was recently one as well. This guy was convinced that Jesus really existed, and he said, "Because I'm not like these flat earths, you know." That's something like that he said.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I thought, okay, maybe you need to talk with Jouke or with any of the other truth seekers. 7 days truth or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Amazes me that people who have truth in their name always lie so much.
Yes, I think that's most of the times, you know, people. It's with almost with anything. It's ridiculous sometimes,
Yeah.
and they're all blowing themselves up, you know, like what is it, JM Truth and things like that.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, who gives a damn what you are? We're not important by ourselves. But they're very afraid to lose their little special place in the universe somehow.
Well, in heaven apparently, and that's yeah.
Well, they're not losing that, but
Yeah,
I think
they
it's much
think.
more being afraid of being meaningless in a very big universe.
Yeah. Instead of doing something decent that makes you less meaningless in a real universe, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Being meaningless. Most of these guys do not do anything. I don't have a job like the Morgile. You know, have you seen his begging videos?
oh, it was ridiculous.
Oh man, begging for money and just to maintain your drug addiction.
Is
Terrible.
it that? Okay, I didn't know that bit
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, he was some time ago. He was in prison, and then
Yeah.
his wife did the videos because he was in prison because they caught him with drugs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And now he had a whole plea that he needed to go with his wife to the hospital, etc. And some guy said, "Come on, man. If you do it like this and that, it doesn't cost you a cent. So you're just making it up and very poor excuses."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. It's yeah.
Oh, God. And what's up with Jouke?
I don't know. He's
What
just
any?
making devil videos and stuff like. Somehow he's trying to attack atheism or atheists
Yeah, he
because
thinks he seems to be pretty much off flat Earth, huh?
yeah, I don't think he can argue against anything he doesn't really understand, because otherwise I think he would have come back.
Yeah.
I don't. You did send him an invite, didn't you?
Yeah, I did it on his YouTube channel under the what is it? The video that he did with Ricardo.
Yeah, and so
But he's very quiet, doesn't answer. He didn't delete it this time, which was nice. He deleted a whole bunch of my comments.
yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah, that's what
But
they also are
he's
good
very
at,
quiet.
deleting comments. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I must admit it can be him or what is it? Willie, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
know which
sure
one.
whether Willie is still very into it. I think he's busy with his oil or whatever.
Yellow miracle oil
Yeah.
snake stuff. Yeah.
Oh, well, I did inquire for his health because I knew that a year ago, a bit longer, he was hospitalized. And although I think it's a dumbass, it doesn't mean you have to hate people. So
No, exactly.
I,
Yeah.
I really wanted to know whether he was okay. And well, Jouke was surprised that I actually asked. Maybe he thinks that atheists are the devil in disguise and can't be friendly. So he said, okay, it's very nice that you ask. He wrote it in a way as if he was really surprised that scientists can be nice people. Yeah.
But the poor boys, what is it? Views are really.
Yeah, it's going down like
Uh,
hell. Yeah.
yeah.
But maybe
And
we
if we
can
could,
do you still had one or two of the other Dutch guys that you thought might be interesting to talk about.
yeah, we had this guy that was trolling us, Hagrid Wells. No idea who he really is,
Yeah.
but it seems to have he has deleted his channel, as far as I can see.
Oh, is it gone suddenly?
It's gone. Yeah.
Okay. Or did he change the name?
So.
I'm now being trolled on one of my latest videos by another guy, and he was called, let me see, because it's really a joke, All Round Philosophy Movement.
Okay, maybe he has changed it. Yeah, could well be.
Oh, and he did it under the video I have where you see the moon come up in the shade of the Hawaii volcano.
The volcano, yeah.
Yeah, if you look that one up, you will find a guy called All Around Philosophy Movement. He's started to troll with some comments, and he manages to write like 20 lines and have like 50 grammatic and other errors in there.
Yeah, that sounds like Hagrid.
It could be, eh? Maybe it's just changed the name, but he only has one video on his channel.
Well, that's what Hagrid did as well. He had about 5 months ago, he put up his first video saying that he had woken up and that soon anything else would follow. So when he started trolling me, I went over, had a look, and I was like, okay, every month I'll give you a wake-up call.
Yeah. Now, while we are talking, so it's nice on screen, people will be able to see that later on. He just sent me a message again. You don't realize one thing. You are talking with God, sir. I am God. A silly twat.
Hey,
Just
hello.
ask him if he uses a wireless keyboard or that he needs to push a USB port.
I am God and this channel, and if you call God dumb, then you have an iron plate in front of your head. He was wondering how it is possible that on some American websites, the Earth turns at 1,000 miles per hour, which he then says is 1,609 kilometers per hour, and on the Dutch website it says it's turning with 1,670 kilometers per hour.
Oh shit! Seriously?
Yeah. And that means that Google shows that our planet runs at 2 different speeds.
You have to add to it that at one point it turns at 0 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. Also that, but the whole problem is that I don't know where he found 1,000 miles per hour, but it is 1,035 miles per hour. But basically, people
exactly. Everybody
round it off.
yeah.
And we don't talk about miles per hour, but rotations per day, and it's 1 rotation per day.
Yeah. RPM.
Yes, RPM and not kilometers per hour. Stupid fuck.
It's such a useless discussion every time. Jouke also with his bloody, what is it, 1,000 miles per hour. Oh fuck! Shut up.
Yeah. Oh yes, and he says if we turn that fast, the leaves on the trees should move.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
So, that is the worst thing. You have these new guys that pop up that suddenly, for whatever reason, become a flat earther, and they do not do any research.
At everything, yeah.
Yeah, and they start all over again with all the shit, and they haven't even realized that whatever they say has been debunked over and over and over again. But okay, yeah, I get another message from him. Let me see, what is it this time?
Oh, it's just coming in now, or what?
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
hello.
brilliant. A live commentary.
Live commentary. What does he say now? NASA can pick up its stuff like all the frauds and your drawings. Oh yeah. That's his problem was that in the video of the impossible picture, where you see the moon pop up in the shade of a volcano, I had to make a drawing to explain to people why things are visible and why not. And apparently explaining things with a drawing is not good. So my reply to him was very simple. anyone with a little bit of brains can understand a drawing as part of an explanation.
Which video is that? Sorry.
It's called De aarde niet plat, de onmogelijke foto op de platte aarde. For my subscribers, that was Dutch. I have one in German, I believe, and in English as well. It's still a fantastic. And then later I got from the guy who made the picture also the video, so that you can actually have how do you call it, time lapse of it, because the guy works on top of a mountain where they have a observatory. And he knows exactly, of course, by calculating using the globe, when he has to go out to see this happen.
Yeah. Oh, we just missed a lovely, what is it? I missed a lovely maansverduistering.
A lunar eclipse.
Lunar eclipse, yeah.
Okay.
It was 3 nights ago, I think, here in Indonesia.
Okay, yeah.
And we're going to have a lovely, solar eclipse on December 26th, I think.
Oh, you lucky guys. So yeah.
I want to go and get to the what is it? The Evenaar?
Yeah.
The
equator. Yeah.
And then do a video.
Okay. If you're, what you should do, have a quick look at the Wolfie's channel on how you can get very cheap but very efficient solar filters. But he has a sort of foil which you can buy, order online, and then you can make a proper solar filter.
Okay, yeah.
Which you really need, otherwise you burn up your camera or your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And, I wanted to figure out if an ND1000 lens was good enough.
No, the best results you get with these foils, if you just a welding mask or is not good enough, and it's usually a bit too thick, so you can't really properly focus. But look at Wolfie's channel in the earlier videos he made; they were quite good.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I'll have a look at that and then live stream.
Yeah, that would be nice. So, hey, actually, I think we have had for the moment enough. If you want to do one of the other Dutch guys, try to figure out which video you especially would like to address, and I can prepare, and we have another session.
Okay, yeah. Have a look.
And then
I'll see if I can get some for a debate.
Yeah.
Let's just take a look around. We'll contact by email and figure it out.
The douchebag comes back again. How can a planet have 2 speeds? Leg daar maar eens uit. Explain that. Okay, I will do that for him in a second. Jesus. Okay. Bart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.